Good afternoon, Mr. Kowalczyk here with another video for Business Math, and today we are in section 3-2. Last class we looked at a family who kept track of all of their expenses for a full month. Well, today we're looking at a money manager for a lady named Lindsay Smith. Now let me warn you, this example with Lindsay Smith is not the same exact assignment you're doing for your homework. It's just an example, so don't start filling in the answers. Well, what a money manager is it's a tool to help Lindsay figure out how much money she wants to spend each month on all of the different expenses she may have. Now, the key thing that we want to keep in mind is that Lindsay can only spend $2,500. Now, on your homework today, that dollar amount is not filled in. That dollar amount is filled in as a blank zero for now. You will get that number at the end of your homework today, but I wanted to kind of show you that first so that you had an idea of what we're working with. Lindsay can spend no more than $2,500. If she goes over that, then she's probably messing up her life. That means that she's spending more money than she can actually afford, and that's not a good thing. Now, over here, we have a bunch of different formulas that you can use. A bunch of different formulas that you can use to calculate different answers for our homework today. We will be using these formulas all throughout as we answer these 11 questions. So, you got to know the formulas, and then of course you've got to know all of these different numbers. You've got to know all of these different numbers. And instead of me just looking at all these different numbers with you, let's first focus on them in sections. This first section right here that I'm circling in red is the monthly living expenses. The monthly living expenses are, of course, the expenses that Lindsay has to pay for in order to survive. You know, we've got food and groceries, we've got household expenses, transportation expenses, personal spending, whether it's clothing, newspaper, pocket money, and even entertainment. If you look at all of these expenses, you might be asking yourself, are these fixed or are they variable? Well, let's remind you. A fixed expense is an expense that stays the same every single month. And a variable expense is an expense that can change just as life changes. Gasoline doesn't always cost the same. That box of macaroni and cheese might be on sale next month. You might not go to the movies every month. You might not rent anything from the Redbox. So those are expenses that are variable. And everything inside this red circle on your screen, everything here that I'm putting a big X through, those are all variable expenses. The next section is monthly, and check this out, fixed expenses. Monthly fixed expenses. These are expenses that stay the same every single month. They're never going to change on Lindsay. They're never going to change. And so when she puts down $800 for her rent, that's how much she's going to pay. And that's different than over here with the monthly living expenses. Why? Because when she puts down $275 for groceries, she's hoping to pay that much each month. Some months she might go over, but hopefully there will be a lot of months where she's either right at it or under because she doesn't want to go over those dollar amounts. So once again, right here, monthly fixed expenses. And then we can move on to annual expenses. Hopefully you know what the word annual means. Annual means yearly. So, what you need to realize is that when you see these dollar amounts, those are not dollar amounts per month. They're dollar amounts for the whole year. So, if you're doing math over here, you're going to find the total by adding all those up. But then you're going to find something known as the monthly share. And in parentheses, you see that you divide by 12. What do you divide by 12? You divide the total by 12, and then you get the monthly share dollar amount. These totals, one of them's already given you there. You need to find the monthly share, and you need to find this total right here. These dollar amounts can all be plugged in over here. And those are all expenses, things that Lindsay has to spend money on. And so you can add these three things up to get this total right here, which is the total monthly expenses. Well, hopefully, when all of our math's done and when we're done looking at this example today, hopefully what will happen is our 2,500 right here in maroon, hopefully that number minus this number will give us a positive answer, a positive result, because we want to have a good positive balance. We don't want to be in the negative. We don't want to be spending more money than what we can actually afford. So let's analyze this. I've kind of shown you a few things. Let's just jump right into the problem. We're going to start using all the formulas. We're going to use all these dollar amounts that are given to us. First things first. How much money over here, number one, how much money does this person plan to spend on groceries? Well, what I'm going to do here is, I don't have a nice neat line to write it on, so I'm just going to write answers underneath. And the answer for this is, how much money does this person plan to spend on groceries? $275. Now, as a reminder, you might be wondering to yourself, where did he get that answer? Right here. $275. Number one's pretty easy. You look at the Money Manager document and you find the dollar amount. We can do that again for number two. How much money does this person plan to spend at the movie theater? Well, each month they plan on spending $10. That's how much they plan on spending each month. How much money does this person plan to spend on gasoline? Well, gasoline can be kind of expensive. $280 each month. What does this person spend each month for their car payment? So I go over to the monthly fixed expenses and I find the car payment, which is $215. It's pretty straightforward. What you're trying to do is find the dollar amounts and plug them in. No real math to show at this point in time. Will there be some math that we have to do? Yeah, there will be some math, but at this point in time we're good. Number 5 asks, how much does this person save each month for emergencies? Well, they have an emergency fund of $25 a month. That's important. That's important because you don't want to be hit by an emergency and not have any money. You've got to prepare for the future, both good and bad things that can happen. Number 6, how much does this person pay each year for real estate taxes? Now, as a reminder, it's $758 per year. For number 6, that's not per month. That's not per month. Now, in order to find number 7, we now have to do some math. We now have to do some math. You might be asking yourself, what math are we doing? Well, let me show you, okay? What we are going to do is add up all of these numbers in red. We're going to add every single one of those numbers up. So that's 275 plus 80 plus 45 plus 87 plus 28 plus 280 plus 55 plus 25 plus 25 plus 100 plus 10 plus 20 plus 20. When we add every single one of those numbers up, and I'm doing that right now on my calculator, when you add them all up, you get your answer for number 7. What is our total monthly living expenses? $1,050. No coins, it's an even $10.50, $1,050. Okay? Well, then we have number 8. What are this person's total monthly fixed expenses? Well, for this one, they've actually already done the work for you. I don't have a problem giving you that answer right now. But what you would do is you'd add up all these numbers in green. You'd add up just the numbers inside the circle. And you would get this number right here. Now, for your homework, I expect to see you show your work. Now, if I happen to give you an answer like this, then there's no real work to show. That's okay. But it is $1,090. All right. We're doing good. 3 problems left to go. 3 problems left to go. And we've just done 1 through 8, and we've just done steps 1 and 2. And I'm just going to really quick write here, work done for us. Okay? Because it was. The work was already done for us. Now let's move on to number 9. What are this person's total annual expenses? What are this person's total annual expenses? Well, in order to find the total annual expenses, you add up all of the expenses. And there are several expenses to add up. Several expenses to add up. So it's 450, 420, 600, 758, 42. And so, now that I'm showing my work, because that's what we've got to do, gang, we've got to show our work. We get 2470. So I'm going to write that over here. Now on your homework, I'm going to give you space to show your work, and I will also give you space to write the correct answers. For today's example, you see where I'm writing stuff. That's not normally where you do it. Number 10 asks us to find this person's monthly share of annual expenses. Well, in order to find the monthly share, we've got to do step 4 right here, and I'm circling it in orange. We've got to do all of that. Okay? So, what we are going to do is we're going to take our annual expenses. And the cool part is that we just calculated that. That's the $2,470 number. And what we're going to do is we're going to divide that by the number 12. And so we divide that out by the number 12, and we get 205.833333. It's a repeating decimal. Well, all of us know, hopefully by now, with Mr. K's class, that you have to take those numbers and turn them into dollar amounts by rounding. So, the monthly share of this person's annual expenses are $205.83. Folks, we've done a great job so far. We've knocked out problems 1 through 10 in this example. Now it's time to do number 11. Now it's time to do number 11. And number 11 is asking us a straight answer. Is it a yes or a no? After figuring out this person's total monthly expenses, is this person under their monthly total budget? Well, what we need to do is add up some things and then do some subtraction. We've got to do steps 5 and 6. So for steps 5 and 6, what we are going to do is this. Monthly living expenses, $10.50 plus, and I could space this out a little bit more. Monthly living expenses plus $10.90 for monthly fixed expenses plus the monthly share of annual expenses. You see, these are all numbers that we just calculated for problems number 7, 8, and 10. I'll say it again. Problems 7, 8, and 10. That's where these colorful answers are coming from. And so we're going to take these numbers and we will add them up. And what we get is $2,345.83. Well, that's not our answer. Once again, they want us to write down a yes or a no. Are they over budget or under budget is basically what we're trying to find here. So now we still got to do step number 6. What is the total budget for the month? What is the total budget for the month? Well, the total budget for the month is $2,500. And you might be asking, hey, where did he get that? Well, that's given to us right over here. And so I plug that in right there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to subtract. That's right, we're going to subtract, just like the formula is telling us, and we're going to subtract the $2,345.83 number that we just found for step number 5. Once we subtract, we get $154.17. And the cool part is it's a positive number. If it's a positive number, then Lindsay did great. It's a perfect job that she did with setting up her budget. Her budget's great. She's going to spend less than what she makes. Because that's what net income is, folks. That orange arrow that we see pointing out right here, that points to the $2,500, that's her net income. That's how much money she makes each month. And she's only planning on spending She's only planning on spending $23.45. So that means she'll have an extra $154.17 left over. So now we can go over here to number 11, read the question again, and let's make sure that we write the answer out properly. After figuring out this person's total monthly expenses, is this person under their monthly total budget? Yeah, they're under. They were under by over $150. I went through this fairly quickly. I know I'm a fast talker, so please don't feel bad if you have to rewind the video a little bit to catch up on a few parts that I might have sped through. And don't hesitate to come and talk to me and ask me questions. Thank you so much, and have a good day.